Here come the LGBTQIA plus
Hands, knees, and bumps a daisy.
people.
Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the EDI Jester. How we doing? Got a frog in my throat this morning. There we are. That's better. I sound like that horrible. What was that big fat creature off of Star Wars episode, whatever it is? Lived underwater. Him. Means I don't know Jabba. Just ignore me. I'm having a funny 5 minutes today. Now, this is because I had to read The Guardian, so I have to make anybody go mental. Right. Stonewall. Stonewall! I haven't done one of them for a while, but The Guardian's got an interesting article that I think is worth us considering. So we'll take a look at that, right? Buy me coffee, like, share, the usual. Yeah, if you can, share, like, share, subscribe. I'm nearly at 5,000. Maybe I'll hit 5,000 in the next couple of days. We'll see. Anyway, there's a picture on the on the Guardian page, which comes, I mean, this is under the heading of LGBTQ plus rights, or LGBTQ rights. That's all it should ever be called. LGBTQ rights. I'm amusing myself this morning, I can't. It's just... Health ministers say Stonewall should not write gender policies for NHS bodies. Well, then stop them. Stonewall shouldn't be writing anybody's policies. Stonewall should be not. Health Minister Stonewall should not write gender policies. The LGBTQ plus charity defends work with public bodies after Will Quince speaks of ideological danger. What a lovely name, Will Quince. I wonder if he's a fruit. Sorry, Will, I'm kidding. Right, Stonewall has defended its work with public bodies after Health Minister said the charity should not be allowed to write gender policies for NHS organisations. They're completely mad. So, why are the NHS doing it? Because the NHS is run by people who are completely mad. The Health Minister, Will Quince, said on Tuesday that the NHS trusts should develop their own policies without the help of organisations like Stonewall, claiming that there was a danger of ideology coming before the concerns of patients and staff. His comments come after it was reported that Stonewall, the UK's largest LGBTQ plus charity, had helped to draw up gender policies at about 30 NHS trusts. Fingers in pies, haven't they, these people? It's interesting. This is The Guardian. What does that tell us? Are things moving when this rag has to do this? The charity has been at the centre of a number of controversies linked directly or indirectly to its position on trans rights, but it has also increasingly become a target for conservative media outlets and Tory MPs seeking to leverage so-called culture war issues. So here we go, full-on Guardian. So-called culture wars issue. Yeah, because it doesn't exist, Guardian. Didn't you fire people, and cancel people? And don't you employ that inveterate, never-ending blowhard, Owen Diddy Jones? Did you not, eh? Or what is it? Tolkien X. It's so good. Asked if the organisation should be involved in writing policies for NHS bodies, Quince said in an interview with Radio Times on Tuesday, so in my view, no. Ultimately, this is an operational decision for individual trusts, and there lies the problem, and NHS England, but I would like to see these policies actually being written by trusts, having spoken with both staff and patients of those trusts. Asked if the government had powers to intervene, Quince said it would have to pass legislation, but he added, I would just gently say to trusts that they shouldn't ever be putting ideology ahead of the views and concerns of patients, and indeed their own staff. Now that's a really interesting one. People say, I've seen it said loads of time, and you will have too, in the Twitteroids, on the YouTubes, everywhere, and talk to people about it in, face to face, that the government don't do anything. It's our government, right, is not a dictatorship. Okay, they don't get to go, right, you're going to do this now. They don't get to do that. I think people have the wrong view of exactly what government we've got. And that's very interesting from this perspective, because ultimately this is an operational decision for individual trusts, and they would have to pass legislation. That's interesting, isn't it? So you've got to understand, they can't do, stop that. We're not run by a despot. Thank God. But what's interesting is, he's saying here, it would have to pass legislation. He added, they shouldn't be putting ideology ahead of the views and concerns of patients and indeed their own staff. I'm thinking this should be a medical driven thing. Medical dribbling. When Quince was told it was the case that people who were temporarily identifying as women could access female-only wards in some NHS trusts in England, he replied, well, it shouldn't be. Of course it shouldn't be. A spokesperson for Stonewall said, as the UK's largest, I'm not going to do it again, LGBTQ plus charity, it is appropriate that we work with a wide range of public bodies to help them understand and meet the needs of lesbian, gay, bi and trans people who rely on their services. Right, okay. Stop force teaming us. The LGB's got nothing to do with the TQ plus. Right? In particular, here we go, trans people experience extensive discrimination in general healthcare. Do they? In what way are they in need of any healthcare that any other human being isn't? Except for the bits they opt for. Waiting times for specialist service are often in excess of 5 years. My way, they'd be 50 years. It is vital that health services work with expert groups and trans people to improve those services. They're including themselves in that, of course, in the LGBT consortium and all the other monstrous creations that have come from the fetid bum piece of the gender ideological movement. Rather than dismissing them as an ideology, an assertion that flies in the face of human rights and global medical consensus. Global medical consensus on, trans in the gay away. What the hell? The right to change one's legal gender was established in the UK in 2004's Gender Recognition Act, but it was in 2015 that Stonewall announced it would work for trans equality, yeah, even though you were asked not to. Hey, Stonewall? Even though you were begged not to let the likes of these people in, to the gay movement. In recent years, bodies including the BBC and the Equality and Human Rights Commissions have quit or opted not to renew their association with a diversity programme run by Stonewall. As usual, as one would expect from The Guardian, erstwhile stroker of left-wing madness. It's what they don't say that tends to be more interesting. They're not being truthful. They're just saying it like it is, or like they see it. I mean, the idea that there is a global medical consensus about any of this is absolutely nonsense beyond belief. Shouldn't that be a complaint to IPSO? Oh, of course, IPSO are captured, aren't they? So no point in complaining. It makes you wonder what's going to come next, but the NHS seems to be in dire need of an enema. But I've said it before, and I shall say it again. 8 men and women, good and true, get them together, send them into each trust, over the next 8 years, and get this garbage gone. You could do it like a flowchart. They love a flowchart in the NHS. You could do it like a flowchart. A guide for HR and bureaucratic nonsense merchants. Start here. Remove the word gender from all literature. That's number 1. Yeah. Do we agree? Can we agree on that? Number 1. Remove gender from all literature. Number 2. Close all affinity groups across the trust. That's 1 and 2. Number 3. Fire anyone who believes in gender identity ideology who works in a clinical setting. That's number 3. Number 4. And so on and so on and so forth. We can make a list. We're smart folk. Put the list together, give it to the 8 men and women, wise and true, and say, right, go on in, make sure these 10 things happen. Number 1, I forgot, should be leave Stonewall. That's it, number 1. 30 trusts. Stonewall should be out of every organisation. They shouldn't be associated with any of the LGBTQ organisations, from the LGBT consortium to Stonewall to, the Proud Trust, whatever else there is that's thrown into the mix. Get yourselves out, do it quick. That's my advice, before the permanent damage becomes something you can't get rid of. Let's try and get this right, folks. Let's try and get it right, okay? I'll see you later. Beep, 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 beep. Hello. It's Good News Week. How are we, peeps? We've got, it has to be said, some interesting news that one may assume is either good or bad, but I think it's good. There's going to be a lot of people going, no, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, who are not going to be happy with what appears to have happened with the government. And, of course, Stonewall. But nevertheless, we may, I think, as a loose collaboration group, take not just solace, but joy From the news, I bring you this glorious AM. I hereby declare on Saturday the 19th of August, which it is, so I've just done this, I've just uploaded it, right, okay, that we appear to have the news that Stonewall has been kicked out of all government departments. Now, that's what it looks like up front, okay? So I put the link in the Dubris in an archive so that you can see it, okay? Now, the heading goes... Oh, I don't like it up a Brit. Stonewall cuts all government departments from list of top 100 employers. Kemi Badenoch told officials to withdraw from the charity's diversity scheme amid gender row. Written by Daniel Martin. Thank you, Daniel, for giving me some good news. It actually came out last night at 9:49, but you know, a bit late to do anything with it. I thought I'd wait to talk to you in the AMs. Stonewall's purged all government departments from its list of top 100 employers after Kemi Badenoch told officials to stop employing the charity. Now, here's the rub. I don't know yet, and I don't suppose anybody does, you know, fully, or maybe somebody does and they'll let me know, whether it means they've actually cut ties with Stonewall altogether, because Stonewall and its diversity scheme are two different things, even though the diversity scheme is run by Stonewall. It says here, in 2020 there were 3 UK ministries, including the Home Office, which were included on the annual chart, but in the charity's recently published list for 2023, there are none. Oh, joyous day, Kaloo-Kalay. It comes after Miss Badenoch, the Minister for Women and Equalities, told government departments to withdraw from Stonewall's controversial diversity champion scheme, which has been accused of spreading the idea that people can self-identify their gender. The diversity champion scheme includes guidance for employers on gender-neutral spaces and the use of pronouns. The company also runs a top 100 index that measures employers on diversity and inclusion. Yeah, it's a boondoggle. That's the most marvellous American word. A boondoggle, which is, you know, a scam to make money. The government first began to cut ties with Stonewall over value for money concerns in 2020. The Cabinet Office later confirmed it had ended its membership of the diversity scheme in a move backed by the then Equalities Minister, Liz of the Truss. Other departments are also withdrawn in the past 2 years, while organisations including the Equality and Human Rights Commission, the BBC and Channel 4 have followed suit, amid criticism that the campaign group is not impartial, including on transgender issues. You think? Subheading, Extreme Views. Sir John Hayes, the Tory MP and former Cabinet Office Minister, last year raised concern about Stonewall's influence in Whitehall, citing what he described as their extreme views on the trans debate. A Whitehall source said the government outsourcing diversity and inclusion programmes to organisations like Stonewall has had disastrous consequences, like bringing in self-ID by the back door and seeing gender-critical feminists equated with anti-Semites. Kemi Badenoch has worked hard to ensure departments know there are better ways to run D&I. Well, there's no better way to run D&I, because D&I actually is about equity, and it's about, you know, intersectionality, and it's about 10% of this and 5% of that. Just ditch it. And seeing gender critical feminists equate... there are better ways to run D&I, ways which provide better value for taxpayers and meet civil service impartiality rules. Quote, now all can see that Whitehall has joined the BBC, Channel 4, the Equality Watchdog and the HRC in rejecting Stonewall's discredited scheme. However, the devolved administrations which have not issued an edict, like Miss Badenoch, are represented on the group's top 100 list. The Scottish Government was at 46th, and the Welsh Government was at 70th. Come on, you two. A number of quangos are also listed, as are health bodies such as NHS England, which sits at 68th. Subheading, less reliant on external advice. Steve Barclay, the Health Secretary, has told NHS organisations to withdraw from the scheme. It comes after Miss Badenoch and Mr Barclay told civil servants in early 2020 that external assurance and benchmarking organisations should be by exception only. At the time, a government spokesman said the civil service will also become less reliant on the advice of external organisations for its diversity advice and policy. This will include those whose activities sometimes do not align to the civil service's commitment to impartiality. A Stonewall spokesperson said, "The Stonewall Top 100 Employers list is the leading way for UK employers to benchmark how LGBTQ plus inclusive their workplace environments are." Sod off. God, go away. Go away, Stonewall. Quote from some Stonewall Borg: "We are proud and this prestigious list attracts entrants from a wide array of sectors, with this year's list highlighting that increasingly the private sector is leading the way in developing respectful, welcoming environments for its employees, alongside many strong performances from across the public sector." Alongside many strong performances from the public sector. What does that mean? It's all performative, by the way. Just so you get it. That's the Borg from Stonewall there talking. When asked what will they do now that people are starting to leave, it says it here that they said resistance is futile. There's going to be some unhappy bunnies running around the civil service this week, isn't there, with all this starting? Because the civil service loves its nonsense. I mean, they just love it, and it doesn't stop them doing their work. Oh, it's cruel. I shouldn't say that. I worked for years in the civil service, helping them teach their peeps. Some fantastic folk, but they certainly have a bent. Should we say that much? Yeah, they have a bent towards the left. I think it's great news, and we should just be happy with it for the moment, despite my misgivings. Well, I'm with the BBC, see? When the BBC left Stonewall, everybody's like, "BBC's left Stonewall, yay! Let's all have a party." We were all sort of partying, and then they just turned around and got into bed with an outfit that's just as bloody bad. Abandon it all. EDI needs to go the way of the dinosaur. It's become such a divisive thing now. It's a shame, because it was a good idea to begin with, so they screwed it up. And organisations, particularly public sector organisations, are under the auspices of public sector equality duty, in which they have to promote equality of opportunity. You can't do EDI and equality of opportunity. The two are the antithesis of each other. So, no, not happening. Anyway, yes, we have some good news. And I suggest you go away and enjoy it, because I'm certainly going to. Thanks, good peeps. Bye.